interesting, and I mean, it gives me a chance to meet people from all over the world and discuss important topics and get deeper knowledge in some specific areas. So I'm very delighted.
Of course, I want to be part of these fantastic discussions, and then coming to the Swedish lunch, that's definitely something you don't want to miss. It's one of the really big events here, and I'm really looking forward to meeting a lot of interesting people.
I've heard this is one of the greatest events, most talked about events at Davos, so it's exciting to be here.
It brings together people who care about policy, about solving problems, and it brings them in a beautiful environment. Davos in and of itself is beautiful, but when you go downstairs and you're inside and you're in a claustrophobic area, here you actually really understand what sustainability and nature is all about. To be outside, to understand what's going on, and to have great interaction with some of the best world leaders in the areas of sustainability, in the areas of technology, is a really special thing. And I think the Swedish Lunch each year becomes the must-go-to event.
This is my fourth year in a row, and I love this venue, and I've just seen it grow again and again, year after year. I love Alexander and Marcus because of the way they are acting, the way they are carrying themselves as true leaders. So they are not only talking about being open and kind, they are open and kind, and creating this opportunity for all of us to meet here on this beautiful mountain and getting perspective and context and meeting people on equal terms and having talks that takes us to the next level. So it's really about creating opportunities for that, and that's what Swedish Lunch does, and I'm so grateful for being here.
It's very humbling having such a broad mix of people from all corners of the world. I would actually say that I don't think that we invite them. I think they choose to come here. And that is really the spirit of coming up here, having the mindfulness and just taking a minute. We have sun chairs put up. We try to think of everybody and everything.
Great to be part of this thought moment where we can really think about something that is related to our future, but also not really deep in the daily business. So you can open up your mind, sharing views with a lot of people that are here. And I'm impressed to see how many people are coming here. In the last years, there's been an evolution on that. That's great.
It's my first time, yes. We've collaborated in the past as Volvo Cars, but it's my first time here in person. Great event, lots of fun people, good food, and hopefully lots of exciting discussions. Well, we're here representing a Swedish company, Volvo, to talk about boldness of brands, innovation, sustainability, lots of exciting topics.
So I'm here talking about climate change solutions with my organization, grounded.org. This is actually my first time at the Swedish Lunch, but the panel I'm on is really about investing for the year 2030. So I'm talking about how that plays into the climate crisis.
The time for talking versus action is over. So there's a very clear identification between the people who want to be known as people who make change and the people who actually want to make change. Are two different sets of people, and now it's very clear who's who, so no more hiding. Either take action or please get out of the way.
The urgency of the climate crisis. We really only have 10 years to turn this around, and we have to reverse greenhouse gas emissions 7.6% per year in order to stay under 1.5 degrees Celsius. So I know there's a lot of people talking about it, but now it's time for action and no more talk. So if anything, take that energy here at Davos around the urgency of the climate crisis and bring it out to the world.
It is potentially, this Davos, a tipping point. Potentially, I say, because we have seen this pressure before where people think Davos is the place where it's going to happen. But on climate change and sustainability and a new form of governance and the way of running companies and governments and public services, I think there is a real chance. The trouble is, I'm never quite sure when I'm at Davos whether all the talk leads to real momentum, real push. I have sensed here outside the Congress Center a real push, particularly on sustainability and climate change. But I pass judgment later about whether it is really irreversible. I think it is, but I want to be convinced.
I think climate change is definitely one of the key takeaways, and all the young climate activists that are here, they are so inspiring, and I think we have to listen to them, let them inspire us, go back home and do the right thing, which is to stop climate change.
So I have to say one of the highlights. It's very casual, it's easygoing, you have normally nice weather, beautiful views.
Things about the Swedish lunch, and if you just see the background behind me, you can totally understand why the word of the Swedish lunch is spreading all across Davos. It is a magnificent place up here. It is a place where about 1,200 people engage, come together, meet each other, and then also discuss all the challenges that we discuss on the Davos Forum, but also finding out how can we build up stronger ties, bilateral ties between different countries, between also companies and states actually. And therefore I think the Swedish Lunch provides an excellent platform here in Davos to engage, to meet and to connect, and also to work for our common goal to build and to make the world a little bit a better place.
So it's not just a place where we're talking and just listening of what's going to happen in future vision, but actually as part of also my family values and making this place a better world, we're really bringing sustainable green energy to the future. And I just feel like people here are listening to what we do and actually rolling it out.
I wanted to bring more attention to what the private sector can do to combat the climate crisis, and even though Davos is slow and getting better at adopting this narrative, it is starting to become part of the narrative of the conference. So it was good timing for us at Full Cycle to come and make sure that they understand that there is private sector solutions to the climate crisis, which now we call the climate challenge.
Davos is an amazing place to meet and to really also connect to these people that are in my field but also in other fields, and not only talk about things but also really commit to action for the next year.
The intentions here is to create a space where people can actually meet and make those connections that can then lead to action after Davos also.
I think that a lot of people have been hammering the message of sustainability. I think that when you're looking at sustainability in general, it needs to be having an impact. It needs to be weighed in the right way that we move forward with real change. The panel that was just now on investing in the year 2030, it's only 10 years. That means that you need to have very significant steps to make those 10 years worth something.
Well, what I'm trying to achieve, and we tried last year, but each year gets better, which is fantastic, is how do we start thinking about transitioning the world to a sustainable economic place? And that's difficult. And what I think happens here in Davos, we start talking about not only the things that have to happen, like going to renewable energy and electric cars and things of that sort, but the really tough things. How do you bring populations along with you? How do you make people feel secure that new technologies and sustainability will be good for their children, for their careers? And those are really difficult discussions. I think Davos helps tease out those along with the real technical things as well.
This is an extraordinary event, not least the number of people who can get up here in the train, given that there's a limited capacity. But I can sense a real buzz. And I know it's the real ticket in town today, and I feel very honoured. The fact is, in order to come here, I've had to appear on the panel. So whether I'd be smart enough and quick enough to come next time, I'm not sure.
The exponential factor of the Swedish Lunch is not only with the guests, because we've been doubling for so many years, which is a lot of fun and very humbling for us, but it's exponential in the sense that the language coming from the panels. You're having people like Ibrahim from Full Cycle, you're having Karen Wilson from the OECD. I mean, these people, they live in very different parts of the world, but here they can meet and they could literally take that home, that message, and just distribute it directly to other people.
Have ideas, have crazy ideas, go out there and then try to get commitment. Talk to every person you meet and say, how can we do something together? How can we make this actionable? And how can we achieve progress by next year?
Well, the world is massively changing, and therefore we have to find out about internationalization, digitalization, automatization. Those are the major trends.
One of the leaders here can bring solutions, and that's a really positive message that can go from Davos to the rest of the world.
And not only talk about things, but also really commit to action for the next year.
Whether if you're in India, Pakistan, United States, or the Marshall Islands, you should be able to get online, look at everything that's going on in Davos and say, I want to listen to that group of people. So that would be my suggestion and my hope for bringing Davos out of Davos and into the world.